Welcome back to the Be a Force podcast, brought to you by B Squared Management. I am your host, Melissa Lopez, and on today's episode, I've got with me W.T. Hamilton. Now, he's got several books. I was going to name one talking about the harsh truths, which I think is important for us to all remember, but he's got a lot of them, so we're going to talk about as many as we can today. But before we get started, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing really awesome. Excited to be on your show, Melissa.
Awesome. I'm so happy to talk to you today. And I'm really kind of looking forward to this because I feel like your books kind of embody something that I find near and dear to me. I know you talk about the laws of attraction, and that's something to me that I think is very important. I actually have a tattoo for the laws of attraction. So I believe in it so wholeheartedly. So I would love it if you could talk to me about your journey becoming an author and how you decided what you were going to write about.
So the beginning of the journey was my mom was into The Secret, and she had passed me the book, and so I read it, and I'm very skeptical, so she didn't think I was going to like it at all. But just the concept of it really resonated with me. The only thing I found for myself was that it was more like a commercial for the law of attraction, but it didn't really tell me how to actually put it into action and make it work in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that started me on kind of testing certain things to see what works and what doesn't. And I was journaling, writing them down, really to share with my kids later on of how to have the hidden advantage of being able to use your mindset and your focused thought to achieve things that you wanted to achieve. And then my mom had said to me, well, she's thinking about writing a book with the experiences that she's had with the law of attraction. And I told her, well, I've been writing a bunch of stuff. Maybe it'll work for your book. And we ended up writing some books together. So that's my introduction into getting into writing and using law of attraction for mindset.
Oh my God, that is really amazing. I absolutely love that you worked with your mom like that. I am an absolute believer in The Secret. Actually, the tattoo I was speaking of actually says The Secret because it's about the laws of attraction. And it's one of the first tattoos I ever got. And I just love it. I just think it's so important. I mean, you see it all the time where, people are manifesting things in their lives just, by just speaking it and following it. So funny enough that you mentioned that you were skeptical, but your mom brought it into your world. And mine is the opposite. I was the one who was into it and my mom was skeptical. So was there any particular thing that kind of helped you like kind of change your skepticism?
So for me, my mom is very spiritual, and she really resonated with the spiritual part of law of attraction. That part kind of pushed me away. But I knew that it was like a mindset and focused thought type of thing. And so I started looking at, my heroes like Jay-Z. Jay-Z really was using the law of attraction, Drake, all of those guys, because they would write their life in their mom's basement of how their life is going to be. And then they would put action steps into manifesting it that way. So I started to think to myself, okay, if you can do that and it doesn't matter what your intentions are, if you have good intentions, and then you're following that, what kind of awesome things are you going to be able to do with this stuff? So that's how I started to pursue it. And that led me to writing, because I do a lot of business and I do a lot of marketing and working with entrepreneurs. So then I said, okay, now how do we use this to help entrepreneurs have a better mindset and a better view of how to achieve things, with some moral compass and some integrity.
Wow, that's super cool. I love this. Okay, so your first book, you don't even know how obsessed I am with this energy. So your very, very first book, what was it like for you writing this? Because I assume, when you're first starting out, you're, kind of new to writing and also sharing your perspective on something that's so major and so personal and I just think it's so valuable. What was that like for you? And can you tell me kind of your process of writing your very first book?
Yeah, so the very first one was really me using the law of attraction for different aspects of my business. So at that time, I wasn't an entrepreneur yet. I was working for a company, and the company had gone bankrupt, and I had gotten hired back to help rebuild this company with this new management team. And the way that they were doing things was not not in line with how I wanted to make my money. And so at that time, when my mom brought the secret, everything just kind of lined up. And I said, okay, now I've always made money, but I want to start being focused on how I make my money. And I want to feel good about how I make my money and feel good about the things that I'm doing, so that if my kids see me down the road and I've done these things, and I can be proud of how I got to, the higher levels of success.
Right.
So as I was writing, I would try things out. So the affirmations, I would try out different visualization and see what was working and what wasn't. And for me, because it's different for everybody, but for me, because I wasn't aligned with so much of the spiritual part, I had to do action steps. So in our book, my mom writes about really the traditional way of using the law of attraction and the spiritual way of guiding and achieving things. And then I take it as a focused thought, and here's some action steps in how to build momentum and use it in this way. So you basically can learn how to use it in two different ways. Mine is a non-spiritual and my mom's a spiritual way. So it's kind of cool because it's a contrast, but you can see how both ways can really get you to the same result.
And they work. Yeah. Because you guys had your Invincible Power series. And you guys work together on it. I have to tell you, I'm going to have to need your mom on here one day, because I'd love to hear her version of it too, because I think it's important, because everybody has different views on how they do things. But I strongly believe in, the power of the laws of attraction. So it'd be so awesome. Maybe we can have you guys both together. That'd be so awesome.
Yeah. That would be.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. Okay, so you're talking about the harsh truths, and it's a 1-chapter book. Now, what stood out to me was everything: the harsh truth and the 1-chapter book. So how do we have the harsh truths in 1 chapter? Let me know everything.
So the way that the 1-chapter books was birthed was, I do a lot of like marketing and business stuff. So I was getting these books, and they'd have like 15 chapters, and I'd read through the book until I got to the chapter that solved the problem that I had. And then I wouldn't read that bad boy anymore, because I wanted to put what I just learned into action. Right. So I decided, okay, why don't I just make books that only have 1 chapter solving one entrepreneur problem at a time? And each one of these books, so the problems that you run into, the core hurdle behind each problem is always a mindset problem. So I walked through a story, through storytelling, how to solve it with your, putting a mindset into play, putting some success habits into play. So they're like law of attraction books, but I don't ever say that it's law of attraction. So with the harsh truth, it's all about the struggles that you run into when you're starting a business, and all the things that people don't tell you about when you start a business that you run into, that you need to have different mindset perspectives to get through.
Okay, so what is the harshest truth that we need to know?
So one of the harsh truths is, so when you start a business, everybody's going to be excited for you when you start.
Yeah.
They're excited for you if you succeed, or they're excited for you when you quit and you start something new. But that in between, when you actually need someone's help and support, it's not going to be there. You're on your own. So you have to learn how to motivate yourself, how to keep going, how to believe in yourself when nobody else is really believing in you.
But that's the hardest part. So like, how do you keep going during that hard part?
So in the book, I talk about different techniques. So one of them is really building momentum and understanding that one of the big fears people have is losing, but every winner was a loser first. So you have to learn how to accept that the struggle is there for you to learn the skills that you need so that you can succeed. And it's going to get easier once you learn how to get good at something. That's a harsh truth that people struggle with.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why I said like everything about the title of the book like really resonated with me, because like the harsh truth, because I think sometimes when we think we're doing stuff, we don't get the harsh truth. I mean, with life in general, it's not just about business. It's, just in general. I mean, adulting by itself is like, it's a harsh truth there. Let me tell you, honey.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's so many different things. And, so I just totally love that. Now, I would love to know for you personally, has there been a harsh truth for you that was really hard to overcome?
So there's been many, but one of the one of the harsh truth really is believing in yourself. So as I created the one chapter book, they'd be excited when I told them about it to my face, but you could see in their face, they're also thinking, you're crazy. Why would anybody buy a book that only has one chapter? And so one of the hard things was to really believe in something that maybe people don't get, and then learning how to explain it to people and get them excited and interested enough to actually jump in on that journey with you and start to learn about it and really understand what it can do and why it is that you're so excited and think it's such a great idea when nobody else is really doing it.
Yeah, that is a hard one. It is a really hard one, especially with writing, because I feel like when you're in the arts, people tend to have a hard time with like understanding how it's going to work because it's a really hard field to be in. All of the arts,
Mm-hmm.
writing, and I mean any of it, it's tough. But
Yeah.
you've already have this, successful series that you did with your mom. So this is kind of like, your first time stepping out on your own without your mom. What's that been like for you?
So what was cool was because I did stuff with my mom and we had gotten reviews and learned how to take that review as a constructive criticism. So it was almost like I cheated by working with my mom first, so that I wasn't just jumping into writing books, because you're exposing yourself and opening up yourself to everyone's opinion or any kind of criticism. So you have to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
So I feel like I cheated because I really tested the waters.
No, you did not
And
cheat. I don't think that's a cheat at all. I feel like that was super smart. You worked with your mom. Oh, my mom's my best friend. So any opportunity I have to work with my mom, I'm into. And I support everybody for that. So you did not cheat. You did
But
not.
what it did is it gave me that experience, because when you want to build success, you have to experience some of it, like just something. You have to do something small that gives you a little bit of momentum and a little bit of belief. And that's one of the things, like what I talk about in the harsh truth, is how to start experiencing a little bit, because once you start to get some feedback and you're starting to find your audience, it's not as scary. I mean, it's still challenging. So what happened was the first one chapter book, it didn't do as well as the second one. The second one did better than the third one. So by the time I got to the harsh truth, I decided to do something different with it. And basically it's a fictional story with all the experiences that I've had woven into that story.
I love
So
it.
I challenged myself by kind of stepping out of my comfort zone, because I had gotten comfortable with just writing these really cool business books that, they are fun and cool, but I wanted to do something different and try like a traditional style, like have characters and see how that would develop.
That's awesome. No, I think it's great. I love that you're challenging yourself. And, without pushing and challenging yourself, that's, you can't find growth. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to really step out of your comfort zone to find the growth that you're looking for and to find the space that you want to be in. And I think it's great. I mean, stepping out on your own in general in life, no matter what, is always challenging and it's always
Yeah.
scary. But we have to do it, so I think
Yeah.
it's really great. So I would love it if you could share with everybody where they can find you, keep in touch with you, and be ready for the next one chapter book.
So if you connect with me on Instagram, it's w.t.hamilton. And if you let me know that you listen to this podcast, I'm going to send all your listeners a free gift. And
Oh,
it's 3 mindset things that they can do right away. So it's a recording and a PDF. And then
awesome.
also you can get the books on Amazon, WT Hamilton, the Amazon page. And I also have, I've just released The Harsh Truth is my first audiobook. So I had hired a narrator, and basically I'm jumping into the whole audiobook market now.
Oh my God, that's awesome. I saw that you have the audiobook. So that means no excuses. You have to listen to it because there's an audiobook. So that means you can listen in your car while you are driving. So No excuse. You got to listen to
Yeah,
W.T. Hamilton's book, The Harsh Truths. And it's a one chapter book. So it's easy, right? So it
exactly.
doesn't
Yeah,
require a lot of time and you gain so much, not to mention all of the other books he's written with his mom that are really great and help with the laws of attraction and will help you manifest, all your dreams and goals. I just wanted to thank you so much, W.T. Hamilton, for talking to me today. I really, really appreciate you taking the time.
yeah, and thank you as well for having me on your show, Melissa. It's been a real pleasure.
Thanks again for listening to the Be a Force podcast, brought to you by B Squared Management. I'm your host, Melissa Lopez, and until next time, be a force.